Hello YouTube, this is Justin Game 44 here, and today I decided to make a ranking video of the Leprechaun movies. I always loved these Leprechaun movies ever since my sister showed me them a few years back, and I must say, they were actually really good. So, well, but to be honest, they all have their ranks, from trash to all the way up to great. So let's begin with the first one. Leprechaun first. I gotta say it was good, but to be honest, I'm not gonna. It was okay. Like, it was basically the first movie, and well, really, it was really simple. There were parts I did like the poker stick burrowing over at the beginning, how it all started with Leprechaun just popping out of the chest, and pretty much what he did, and how he scared that old man. But like, but really, the one thing I really that could have possibly got this movie to lame if it wasn't for at least a few good things with it was the fact how many times it did that waiting where you think there was going to be a jump scare. Like, it did so many times, and there was not a real jump scare. But it was like okay, because I also did like when the Leprechaun was like then starting chasing, popping out counter and counter, saying I want my gold. You should have picked door number two, me lad. Or when he was on his skateboard in the house. I found all that stuff funny. Or when he popped out the walls. So with all that stuff, plus when the Leprechaun was chasing the woman by using a wheelchair. That was honestly funny as well. So yeah, that was great. Also, I did. Now, as for Leprechaun 2, Leprechaun 2, I have to say was honestly better than Leprechaun 1. Now, it doesn't really fall. Any of these movies don't fall on from a past movie or anything, except the very last one that takes place around 25 years later from the movie. From the first movie, I mean. But we'll get into that later. Now, for Leprechaun 2, I have to say it was actually good. Now, the reason why, because the movie was about Leprechaun he's 1,000 years old. Which in the first one he says he's only 600. But in the second one, he's basically a 1,000-year leprechaun. It's his time to take a bride. And he has a slave that his daughter's the one that gets to be the bride, and if she sneezes three times without someone saying God bless you to save her soul, Leprechaun gets to have her bride. The own father of the slave actually saved him and say God bless you, my child, and ran off. And Leprechaun actually ended up killing him and saying within by my next 1,000 offspring I will find your most fairest offspring and claim her as my bride. Happy St. Patrick's Day, me lad. Then he kills him. After that, basically, we get to see a little list of all his wives and all the women, which I have to say was pretty good. But nonetheless, after all that, we get to see who these characters are. The whole entire movie is about the Leprechaun and him, which we get to see a person named Morty, which, kind of reminds me of Rick and Morty. But nonetheless, it was really more with a teenager boy that had lost his parents, and his uncle's the one who is a scammer, basically, who is always drunk and stupid. And honestly, by the time he finally did got killed off, I got to say was that's going to be, I was about to say about time. Who wanted to keep him alive? But yeah, Leprechaun, that was honestly, it was really kind of a good one. I really love when they finally did got to the cave, and then they were all like trying to find their way out. That was kind of really funny. I love how the Leprechaun was playing all these new tricks and everything up. And he was getting better at rhyming. Okay. Really, I have to say it was good, but I kind of wish they did the ending a little bit better. But, well, not really like how they just quickly ended it. Why can't we get a little bit more closer when they finally kiss at the end? But nonetheless, I found the murder seems to be good. But besides all that, let's talk about Leprechaun 3. Leprechaun 3 is honestly one of my favorites out of all the Leprechaun movies. I found it to be really funny. Every single time we get to see the Leprechaun, he always has a unique line or everything. He always keeps rhyming, and I swear I love his jokes in these. And how he murders everyone in these movies trying to get his gold back was honestly funny. I really cannot. And it also was kind of like a leprechaun werewolf because one of the people got infected by his own green blood, and pretty much they were starting turning into a leprechaun. And man, when that person turned into a leprechaun, it was really funny. Now, I gotta say, it really was actually good. Granted, there were some cringy characters. Actually, that's pretty much what all these movies do have cringy character writing. Well, except for some, but really, Leprechaun 1, I really did not like all about the kid and all the other characters because how lame they were really. Leprechaun was the one that made them all great. But still, like other than that, Leprechaun 3, I have to say, I personally love what he did to that woman. Oh yes, the woman or that magician, like the tricks, like that was honestly really clever how the people came up with it. Like who was coming up with this stuff? Anyway, that was actually a really good one. His rhyming and everything was just funny. Why can't I get this up? Leprechaun 3. Okay, Leprechaun 4. Leprechaun 4 in space, I honestly have to say, I'm not even really going to say that much about it. Lame. Okay, reason why Leprechaun 4 isn't lame because really throughout the whole entire movie after 3, literally in Leprechaun 3 there were like some things I could see that probably got the idea for Leprechaun 4. There was a little sci-fi with a robot and with here and this, but similar things. But really, Leprechaun 4 was really nothing more but just a leprechaun in space with poorly graphics and all this stuff. I mean, why couldn't we got like Leprechaun like it was back in medieval times or something? And throughout the whole entire movie, they never even said once Leprechaun. They perform as some type of space evil creature or something. I mean, there were some good adult jokes here in this movie, like how the first person, how when the second people got killed or something. But believe me, really, there was only just like a few good lines. I mean, I did kind of like the very giant monster at the end, but still, there really was not that much fun there. And as for, I know that's pretty much it for that. I really don't have that much to say about Leprechaun 4. I really don't like it. But then again, it's really not that horrible compared to the next one we get after the next two. So, Leprechaun in the Hood. Leprechaun in the Hood was honestly good. Okay. I'm really not gonna lie. I found Leprechaun in the Hood kind of lame, simply because I just wasn't a really big fan of it. Like I had no. Honestly, like just how the story was going, like it was actually though better than how some of the other movies are characters. I have to give them that. Like in the past 4 movies, Leprechaun, all the characters were really disliking everything because all the characters were stupid. Like in the first one, we had a kid that was basically a brat to a grown man, and really like Ozzy and all this stuff. Like I was gonna say to myself, what the heck is wrong with all these characters? That spoiled brat girl in the first movie, who pretty much gets so shot with this. So obviously the dad, well, technically I don't really hate the dad. He was actually okay, but he was gone for most of the movie because he had an infection hand because he was bit. So he was in the hospital for most of the time until at the very end where he had got reunited to his daughter. Second movie, how the couple characters they really not like right. I mean, Morty was honestly nothing more but a drunk fool, which I wish he died sooner instead of later on. I mean, in the third movie, it was the same thing. All the characters were talking cringy, and many of the characters were stupid, but it was because of the Leprechaun, they at least made it funny. I mean, in a way, the characters were stupid, but thanks to Leprechaun, it was funny in a way. But in Leprechaun in the Hood, I do have to say, though, all the characters were actually good, but I just really couldn't get into it. There were many things, but still. You know, now, Leprechaun in the Hood, though, if you really want to know the basics, it was about 3 people who are all rappers that want to, like, who don't really do the exact same type of mean rap. They're kind of more like good rappers who want to try to be big, but really cannot because people don't like their music, even though it does sound good, trying to bring positive things in it. So, what happens in Leprechaun in the Hood is, well, they find a magic flute where the leprechaun was basically with a medallion, which was shown in the third movie and was brought back here, where now he was turned to stone, it was taken off, and it was taken back again. This time with a flute and everything instead of a pot of gold. And here, the pot of gold was basically put in. I mean, a flute is basically what they're going for. That can basically make anyone listen to you however you want. Which that was the whole entire point. It was getting the flute back, and dang, but we have Leprechaun got everything back. It was a surprise. I just though really just couldn't get Leprechaun though. I really just couldn't get into Leprechaun in the Hood though, as I thought I did. But Leprechaun in the Hood 2, really have to say, it was actually good. Leprechaun in the Hood 2 was honestly way better. It was like having a group of characters that didn't have nothing that much. But when they finally got the gold, I have to say I love it. They gave the Leprechaun its own story, and I mean, a new backstory and a new completely outfit he had from the other five movies. And I must say, this was just good. I really did love the character, but except the one thing I didn't really like, they took away his rhyming, but really the way how he was starting to talk now was okay. And then he looks more like the Grinsel in this cover, not gonna lie. But really, Leprechaun in the Hood 2 was just actually kind of really good one, with a new backstory, with new ways how they done things that they haven't done before. And how he ended, well dang. Leprechaun in the Hood 2 was just one of the goodness. I really like how come like the Leprechaun was slowly chasing them. At first everything looked great when they had the gold. It wasn't in a pot this time, it was in a chest, but still. And the way how he was talking, getting more deeper and darker was honestly great to me. Now, that's really my favorite Leprechaun. It was clearly a good one. Now, Leprechaun Origins. Okay, is there any way I could possibly like this? It was definitely the most trash. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Leprechaun Origins, out of all the movies, Leprechaun in Space honestly got saved by this movie from becoming trash. I thought Leprechaun in Space was bad, but oh my god. Because of Leprechaun Origins, it made the Leprechaun in Space actually give a little good because it was not because it became from being the worst, becoming the second worst. I am not lying. If it wasn't for this movie being made, Leprechaun in Space would have probably went being in trash. Okay, now let's be honest here for a moment. Leprechaun Origins was basically does not have the actual Leprechaun, and it has this giant monster thing. I mean, my sister told me leprechauns can take form as different monsters as well, but like this really was nothing interesting. This was just nothing more with some monster that eats the people and eats their gold and pretty much all this. Like I didn't even understand the story until I had to watch another review to actually know it. Because when I was watching this, I barely heard the characters really talk that much. I couldn't really understand what was going on. There was no comedy in it because every single movie of this was supposed to be a horror comedy, and really, Leprechaun Origins wasn't even funny at all. There wasn't even a good joke. He was plainly boring. Like a bunch of tourist people with this barrier thing. At the point, I really don't understand how this movie even worked. I mean, I had my complete own idea of Leprechaun Origins, how the way they should have made the movie. Well, like, from that could take place before the first movie, with the whole entire guy from the very beginning that we see, all that stuff. Like, how did he got the gold and how did he got all the way back? Like, how did he found out and everything? Something like that. And we could have seen, like, at the end where he was coming back to his old farmer house and the leprechaun was following him from behind. That would have been good. But no, we didn't get that. Okay, now we finally have the last one. Leprechaun Return. Leprechaun Return is the 8th and the final movie so far. We probably might get another one, but still. Leprechaun Return was honestly, I would say, good. Leprechaun Returns was basically taking place 25 years after the first movie, which it has the Leprechaun returning with all these group of college students who are now all basically returning to this place. One is actually a descendant of the spoiled brat daughter, although this time I actually do like her. Ozzy himself is also back here, and, well, he's the first one that gets killed off. The mailman also gets killed. The thing, though, that makes this movie way more different than the others is that Leprechaun Return is still a horror comedy humor thing, but this is more darker than the other ones. The more were just playing jokes of horror, but this one was taking a really dark humor, which I gotta say was good, and I really had like some good scenes from here, like when he tried to pretend when he was copying the voice of her dead mother, and really there was a lot of really good things in this. Now I would continue this on, but since I can only make videos longer than 15 minutes, this is where I'm gonna have to end. If you want me to make more videos of this, and also make the ranking videos of each video of the Leprechaun, I will do. But until then, this is Justin Game 44. signing out. Until then, I'll see you all later. Bye!